London, 1900. A city already awake before the sun fully rises. Cold air settles over narrow streets where silence is never complete. Even in these early hours, movement has begun. Footsteps echo across damp stone, horse carts roll slowly through the fog. And somewhere, a press has already printed the news of the day. This is not the London of monuments, not the London of empire and power. This is the London people lived in, where every morning begins with routine, and every routine hides a story. The door stands still in the quiet, then suddenly, motion. A bicycle cuts through the street, fast, precise, familiar. A folded newspaper leaves the rider's hand and lands exactly where it should. No hesitation, no pause. Another street, another delivery. The city is waking, one doorstep at a time. But this rider is not just part of the routine. He is watching it, understanding it, living through it. His name is Victor, and through him we are about to step into a full day in London. Not through records, not through imagination, but through reconstruction, from the first light of morning to the final moments of night. We will follow the people who built this city's rhythm, what they ate, where they worked, how they moved, what they feared, and what they never spoke about, because beneath the order of daily life, London was a city of contrast. Industry and exhaustion, opportunity and survival, routine and unpredictability, a place where thousands lived side by side but never the same life. Today we are not observing history, we are stepping into it. The city does not wake all at once, it stirs in layers. First the deliveries, bread, milk, coal, newspapers. Then the doors begin to open. A curtain moves, a latch turns, a shop shutter is lifted into place. By the time the sun has fully reached the upper brickwork, London is already in motion. In working-class homes, the morning is brief and practical. Breakfast is not an event, it is preparation. Tea is poured while the room is still cold. Bread is cut quickly. Porridge, when available, is eaten without ceremony. There is little time to linger. The day ahead will take most of what people have. Men dress for factories, workshops, warehouses, and yards. Their clothes are heavy, worn, and functional. Wool coats, caps, thick boots. Everything is built for labour, weather, and repetition. Women begin work as early as anyone else. Some prepare children for the day. Some open small shops. Some take in sewing, laundry, or domestic work before the street is fully busy. Much of London's labour happens before it is visible. Inside narrow homes and behind plain windows, the city is already working. Outside, the pace changes street by street. In poorer districts, movement is immediate. Workers leave early and walk fast. Meals are simple. Hands are already occupied. In more commercial parts of the city, clerks and office workers appear later, dress more neatly, moving with a different kind of routine. Their streets are cleaner. Their pace is calmer. But they belong to the same machine. Every district feeds the city in its own way. The markets begin to fill. Vendors arrange produce by hand. Shopkeepers sweep thresholds. Street sellers prepare hot food for those who do not eat at home or do not have time to. By now, the horse carts are constant. Wheels grind against wet stone. Hooves strike a rhythm that repeats across the city. And above it all, smoke rises from chimneys, from workshops, from rail lines. It settles into the morning air and becomes part of London itself. Nothing here is still for long. A child runs an errand through the market. A labourer tightens his coat and keeps walking. A woman lifts a shutter and prepares to sell. A train releases steam somewhere beyond the rooftops. And through it all, the city reveals what it truly is. Not just the capital of an empire, but a place built on routine, on work repeated every day, on millions of ordinary actions that keep the whole system moving. This is London in the morning, not ceremonial, not idealised, but practical, crowded, and alive. And before noon arrives, the city will already have divided itself into classes, duties, streets, and schedules. because in London, even the start of the day tells you who belongs where.